My name's Leila Timmins. I'm the senior curator here at the McLaughlin Gallery in Oshawa, Ontario. And we are in Tim Whiten Elemental Oceanic. Tim has his own energy. Tim is his own ecosystem, his own galaxy. You get sucked in, and you're in Tim's world. You don't leave once you're in. I am working with the themes of water. Think about the oceanic, or think about water as metaphor, a way of trying to describe the oneness or the connection between all beings. And so thinking about water through that lens of intuition, emotions, things that are sort of sublimated or underground is a sort of general container for some of the works in the show. It's an interesting task as a curator in relation to Tim's work, that you become the conduit. You are the conduit between the artist and the viewer as a curator. There is a tension in trying to bring viewers into the work, bring an audience in and provide enough information so people can have a rich experience, a depth of experience, and not over-determine the work and not over-explain the work. And it is a particularly fine balance in working with Tim because the works are so experiential and because he wants them to be so open to the viewer. He wants an unmediated encounter with the objects. There's a paradox in that of how to reveal and how to conceal that is also, it runs parallel to Tim's practice. The way that he covers objects in leather. What I've come to learn is that the work holds the potential to teach if you want to show up and learn from it. Mystical scholars historically have been deeply respected as the truth tellers, as looking for the truth in the world. And the material of life, the material of human interaction is also part of Tim's materiality. That bodiliness is central to his work because it is grounded in the body. It's grounded in presence. It's grounded in our relationships with each other. And we have a work from the Enigmata series in the show, which is all of those things. It's the impression of a body on hospital sheets, the negative impression of it. So he's creating the image of a body through its absence. It's the things that make a life that are captured in that space. Tim's work celebrates life, very much so, but it is not about wanting to cling to it or hold on to it. We spent 4 years building towards and working on the show, and I would say for the first 2 years we didn't even talk about a work list. I didn't even bring a work list to him. We'd mostly talk about life and about Tim's thinking around the world, around how the world works or how he is in the world. It took that amount of time to get to the exhibition that we have here. One of the earliest conversations that we were having is about how the sacred feminine comes up again and again in Tim's practice, and is something that he's been thinking about, both sacred masculinity, or the tension between masculinity and femininity. I think these questions of masculine and feminine energies are central in the work Last Night, Night Before. So Last Night, Night Before is a sculptural installation that Tim made in 1997 and is one of the major works in his career. It is part of the RMG's collection, so we wanted to feature this work and build the show really around some of the themes that this work draws on in Tim's practice. Last Night, Night Before references a nursery rhyme that kids in the neighborhood would sing with Tim growing up. To start here is composed of a large circle. These are made up of dresses and skirts, the cast iron bowl sitting on top of the female clothes, the female garments that have been worn and hold the traces of the women who've worn them before. To me, that makes me think about the lives that those people had, the energy that potentially those objects have, the garments carry with them. And I think that that transfer of energy and the cycles of life and death is something that's really central to this work. The sphere, the shovel, and the bowl are all cast iron, they're forged within fire, and it really is about how your body is moving around the works in this space, physically bending down, and you have to bow to these works. There is a reverence to the works that are on the floor, similarly to the works that are on the wall that cast your gaze up. We have 3 drawings in the exhibition from the Saying His Name series, which Tim loosely describes as black and white to color. One of them is also Say His Name at the portal, so there's a portal in the drawing. And we started with this one, Saying His Name at the portal, as an invitation to the viewers. You are literally being invited to walk through a portal and to be able to see things. You're stepping into Tim's way of seeing, and if you slow down and spend time with it, the works will reveal themselves to you in new ways. When Tim is in his drawing practice, that is an unmediated expression that is coming from his bodily knowing. So Tim, through his process of drawing, creates these markings on the page, these rhythmic markings that, when you spend time with them, create this vibration. If you look long enough, start to produce color. So you'll start to see pinks and purples and yellows and blues. A shifted way of viewing, a shifted seeing is, I think, key for opening up the works in this show. I think that Tim's really interested in the materials of everyday life, the spiritual potential of the everyday, and so there's something really beautiful in how he's able to look at something quite simple like a broom or a pickaxe, these tools that are used in daily life, but to imbue them with a kind of reverence. It's a reverence for work, for those daily rituals, for that kind of practice and that repetition. The work that we have in the show, Untitled, from 1972, is a work that he created by working on the floor of his studio, covering a page in graphite. So this very gestural, physical movement, and then he has erased the graphite off of the page, creating this beautiful sort of wave-like texture. And that those motions themselves mimic the chores that he had as a kid of washing the floor and scrubbing the floor. Creating and erasing and creating and erasing. That rhythm of sweeping, or in the title, 1, 1, 1. These very simple everyday gestures opens up new potentials for what those moments are in our life and how they can open you up to new kinds of experience and new ways of being within your body. There's 2 works in the show that reference mythology. So there's Horus negotiating the waters, and there's also After Asterion, which is the horns behind me. Those reference allegorical stories of transformation. I think when he's referencing myths or Greek epics, that he's looking to these moralizing stories to find something that helps us to live better. Tim has been using skulls in his practice for almost the last 50 years. And so as we were pulling together an exhibition that is looking at his career, it felt essential to be having works that include skulls in them. For me, the skulls for Tim are part of his quest for truth-telling. He uses skulls because to Tim there's no other way to communicate what a skull is going to communicate. What that seems like at first is about death, but it's really about the transcendence of death entirely, or about life. There's a timelessness to Tim's work, that there is something in the questions that the works are asking, or in the way, the experience that you will have through encountering them, that will be just as, I believe will be just as relevant in 200 years as it is now. Tim's offerings, I think, are gifts, and I think that that's the best way to frame them.
I make what are essentially gifts And the reason that I say that they are gifts is that they're the results of finding a number of things in my life that I want to share with other people.